Wow, it is hot outside. Look who it is. Time for a ride. I thought I'd run you through the XSR700 as a beginner bike. Some of the pros, some of the cons. Who was that? A lot of pros, not a lot of cons. That's the short and sweet of it. So if you don't want to watch the video, just end it right there. We'll just go for a ride while I talk it. That's what you do as a motorcycle guy. You just end up talking to yourself and singing to yourself. That's the norm. Yeah. You can't get it? Ride time on a sunny California Ohio day. Starting out, let's talk about the weather. I never talk about the weather, right? It is about 70 something degrees. Woke up today, it was about 50 something. Now it's about 70 something degrees Fahrenheit. Beautiful. That crisp morning, and now it is sunny, beautiful. Too sunny out actually to take a photo, so won't be doing that. Just a little bit of moto vlog stuff. You'll see I got a new part here that just came in. Let's guess the price of that. Now pause, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Closest answer to the cent will win a prize yet to be determined. The prize ranging from $0 to $1 million. It's a special prize. I have no idea what the answer is, but I think the answer is near about 35 bucks. What we're talking today is the XSR700, the beautiful XSR700. I've made mine a little bit more beautiful than the standard. I'm a little bit biased on this one. I get the question all the time, is the XSR700 a good starter motorcycle? Now, I'll start off by saying, a bike is what you make it. Theoretically, you can make any bike a starter bike. You probably want to stay away from racing motorcycles, anything with like a crazy high torque, any giant bike that you can't handle, obviously. Those are the obvious ones. But generally speaking, every bike can be a starter bike. It's just if you know how to ride it and you learn and you can grow into it. That being said, I would say that there are key features that you want to look for in a motorcycle when you're first starting out. Maybe you haven't rode in a few years. So some things that I would look out for if I'm going to be on the market as a beginner, as a noob, as the gaming community would call it. Key features. In no particular order, I'm going to talk through, I think it's 5 things that make up what I would consider items to look for in your first bike. First one being safety. Are you going to be safe on this bike? I know. That's where she tipped the bike over for the first time. You can't tell though, there's no scratches, no nothing, just a little bruise. Number one, most important, safety. Are you going to be safe on this bike? First item to check whenever you're looking into getting your first bike, or it's a beginner bike or a bike that you are back to riding after several years of giving it up, that is safety. Now safety translates through all of the other key criteria that I would look for in a bike. What safety means to me is the bike new enough that it has the tech like anti-lock brakes and fuel injection? Is it new enough that it has all of that you trust it to ride? Has your bike had the proper maintenance? Has it been taken care of? So that's why I say a new bike versus an old bike. A new bike, you're kind of guaranteed that it doesn't have a mile on it. So you're guaranteed that it actually is going to perform when you first get on it. So any issues that actually arise are on you. If you don't feel comfortable and confident on a bike when you get on it, that bike's not for you. Even if you think you're going to grow into that bike, if you don't initially feel comfortable and confident, do not get on a road. It's not worth your life. Two. Criteria number 2 I'd look for on a bike is height or seat height versus your height or your inseam pant height. With height of a bike, what you're looking for is, can you flat foot on that bike? When you're at a standstill, you're seated on the bike, can you put your feet down and actually flat foot? Now, I know there are plenty of bikes out there that this is not the case, even if you are a reasonable 6 foot. But for the most part, this is a general rule of thumb. You want to be able to flat foot the bike or near flat foot the bike that you are riding. That will then translate back to safety. More confident coming to a stop and more comfortable just generally riding it because you can control it a little bit better. So the XSR is about 30 inches, 31 inches stock. Now I took off a little bit of foam off my seat, so it's probably sitting near the 30 mark. And it fits me spot on perfect. I'm 5'11", maybe 5'10", 3/4, but don't tell anybody. I'm 5'11", my inseam is a 32, and this bike fits me perfect. With tennis shoes, with boots, you couldn't ask for a better fitting bike for myself, honestly. Even stock, it was perfect, and now it's perfect. For another frame of reference, the girlfriend up ahead, she is about 5'8", and she fits this thing perfect. Maybe on her toes a little bit, but she feels comfortable on this bike just by sitting on it, and then also riding it as well. I'll talk about it because it's looking at me right now, the Ducati Scrambler. Ducati Scrambler, I think the seat height is registered the same as the Yamaha XSR700, but you know what? Jesus, when I sit on it, I actually feel like I'm way lower to the ground. I think it would be really perfect for somebody that's about 5'7", 5'6", because the way the seat scoops in here, if I get a little bit close up here, you can see how she's like scooped in. Now I will say it's not the most enjoyable for the boy, you know what I mean, but it helps out. It helps you out if you are a little bit shorter. I'm getting in this other lane. I hate these bumps. This is the bump that I was talking about in the seat for the height. How tall are you? She's 5'8". I was right. I'll let you lead. I'm so nice. I'm letting her lead. Bumpy roads. Nobody likes them. So if you live in a city that has bumpy roads, don't pay your taxes because nothing's happening with your roads. Joking, pay your taxes. All right, I went over safety and height. Third, I'm going to talk about specs. Do specs matter? Let's go. Now, do specs matter? That's the question for number 3. You moto geeks can probably nerd out on specs, looking at horsepower, looking at the torque, claiming that certain bikes don't have enough torque to actually move out of the way if you need to flick the bike really quick on the highway from some crazy grandma or something. Now, you're probably right, but as a beginner, what does that all even mean to you? Don't worry about it. Go ride a bike. Now, if you grew up on dirt bikes like I did, those got some pretty killer torque, meaning you can flick that throttle real quick and get movement. Horsepower is just torque times RPM. So you're looking at those specs, that's how you can calculate all that. You're here to want to know, is the XSR700 right for you as a beginner bike? Yes, it has all that. So we're looking at specs, we're looking at your torques, your horsepowers, your weight. Weight is another crucial one in spec list. Can you actually flick this thing with how big you are? Now, this is going to be unique to every one of you guys. This thing weighs, no idea, but I'm going to put it here. Bing! A good amount of weight, actually, to flick around. I'd feel comfortable on this thing. I feel confident enough with the horsepower and torque that I can flick around that grandma if she's coming at me from the side. So that was number 3. Number 3 was specs. Don't really care about the specs as much. Go ride a bike, go test drive a bike to figure out the specs that are really right for you. Each one of you guys is going to be unique. But frame of reference, I'm 5'11", 160, decent build, slim build, and I can move this really, really easy. Girlfriend's 5'8", she weighs, I have no idea. I'm going to beep it out. She weighs beep, and she can move around this thing pretty easy as well. Number 4, beginner bike. Not necessarily anything to do with safety, specs, the height, is maintainability. How easy is this thing to maintain? As a first bike, I suggest that you get a bike that's easy to maintain. You want your Toyota Camry of bikes for your first bike, not your Lamborghini. So in bike land, stick with the Hondas, the Yamahas, and then gradually make your way up to a Ducati and all the other crazy ones. I initially was looking at a Ducati Scrambler when I first was coming into the Scrambler game, and what I realized quick was there aren't many Ducati Scrambler dealerships and maintenance shops around me. Now there are ones that are one-offs and they're cell phone, they're not dealerships per se, but there's a lot of Yamaha, a lot of Honda dealerships. So I then turned to the local Yamaha dealership to come sit on one of these guys. And you know what? I loved it. I fell in love with it. I had sat on a Ducati Scrambler before, doing a little stand game because I don't want to deal with these bumps. I had ridden a Ducati Scrambler before and I enjoyed it, but I was happy with the engine displacement, how it felt, how it growled, and I was happy with just the styling of the whole thing. And as you can probably tell, when modifying my bike, that's what I was kind of aiming for in the beginning, and have since gone down the Scrambler path. I think I've made a unique look on this bike that hopefully many of you guys enjoy. Having all those dealerships around me allows me to quickly go in for maintenance should I not be able to take care of it myself. So not only is a Yamaha a good bike to have around in my neck of the woods, because there are many more dealerships and maintenance shops that I could take it to, but also I can do a lot of the home oil changes, oil filter swaps, coolant installs. That takes me to number 4. As a first bike, everybody loves the aesthetic, the culture of motorcycles, and there's something about actually making it your own. You're gonna walk off the dealership or buy a used bike, and that's gonna either be stock or another person's idea of what that bike should look like. Keep in mind, you're gonna probably spend so much more money on customizations and modifications to, one, get this thing looking like you want it to look and feeling like you want it to feel. And a Yamaha, and actually specifically the Yamaha XSR700, is so easy to modify and customize and upgrade, because everything is bolt-on. No lie, everything is either an Allen wrench or a screwdriver away from removal and swapping. It is just that easy. Levers, mirror, bars, fenders, everything was made to be removed so simply with an Allen wrench. With the toolkit that comes with the bike, it was made to be torn down with just those pieces. That's so awesome. Now, many other bikes, many old bikes, don't have that luxury. You have to go get custom modded parts, custom fabbed parts at your local motorcycle fabricator or machine shop, which is pretty expensive. And that luxury of having everything bolt on and bolt off, and this being a redesign essentially of the FC07 or the MT07, is that everything is pretty much out there in the market should you want to buy it and swap it. Now, plenty of customizations also exist for the Ducati Scrambler because of the popularity of the bike, but that is the same that I'm kind of saying for the XSR700 because of the popularity of the MT07 and the FC07. You can find so many different parts that suppliers and vendors have custom created on their own to feed that market. Little tidbit, how you get your partner to realize the light has turned green is you just rev an engine at them. I think it all comes back to the first item, which is safety. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel confident when riding the bike? If anything were to dart out in front of you, if a pothole was gonna sneak up in front of you, do you feel comfortable taking that head on, maneuvering quickly enough to actually get yourself to safety. And then as a bonus, is it fun and does it look cool? And I think we both know the answer to that. The answer is yes, to both fun and look cool. So I didn't even bring those up. A lot of big circles today, a lot of big circles. She's the navigator. Look at that navigator. Doesn't know where we're going. So I think that covers it all. Those are the 5 things that I would look at if I'm gonna be first looking for a beginner bike like the XSR700. It fell. So that's it. I'm realizing the camera is a little bit messed up, but in the XSR700, great medium novice motorcycle from my perspective. Test drive one if you can, to feel if it's right for you. Does it have us going this way? That way? What? Okay.